Hello, my friends. This is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and welcome to another episode of Bike Chat. In this episode, I've got my friend Devin Carlson from Archer Components. We'll be talking about their new electronic shifter kit. I call it a kit because it can be added on to your existing drivetrain, but we'll let Devin get into all the details, and you'll learn about it on this upcoming show. So don't go anywhere. We'll get into that right now. All right, my friends. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Bike Chat. This is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking. As always, I'll be taking the audio from this, folks. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that's great. But you may be listening to this right now on my podcast that I have on Mountain Bike Radio, because the audio from this gets sucked out and sent over to my buddy Ben, and he posts it over there. In today's show, we'll be talking to Devin Carlson from Archer Components. And Archer Components has an electronic shifter kit that gets added on to an existing mountain bike drivetrain. And we're going to talk about how that's working. I've been using it for a while. I've got a little list of questions that you have posted and I have posted that we're going to run by Devin so we can learn more about the product. But first, let's learn about Devin. Devin, what do you say hi to everybody? And there you go.
Well, hello. This is actually my first podcast, so I'm pretty excited. I'm an avid consumer of podcasts,
Cool.
so to be on the other end of things is kind of weird, but
You always
I like
remember
it.
your first one, so that's good. That's great.
Oh,
There you go.
Gene,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, it's a rated R podcast. There we go.
Wow. Okay. Well, as long as I can cuss and drop some F-bombs here and there, I think we're going to be we're a match made in heaven, man.
Perfect.
So yeah, we've been working on Archer. God, it's been about 2 years now, and or I guess a little bit more. Me and my best friend Brandon Rogers and we started the company. Both mountain bikers, both total geeks, like full-on geeks, and yeah, we're having a blast, man. We're having a lot of fun with this, getting a lot of people stoked on this product, stoked on wireless shifting, and we're having a good time.
Yeah, I learned about actually the topic a while ago. I'll post a link to this over here, but I do a lot of shows with Josh Patterson, and we had talked about what's coming up in some of the Sea Otter events, and that's where we learned about electronic shifting, what people are coming out with, and guys like you coming out with some cool additions to your existing bike. So I have an install video about this that I'll probably post in the description as well, and you can learn more about how it installs. So I have some information there. But that video and an Instagram post that I posted a while, Devin, I have no idea why that got so popular, but I can't believe how many people like that little me clicking the button. I clicked the little remote shifter button, and I got like 59,000 people saying, "Oh, look."
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Oh, no, don't do it.
Okay,
You're going to break the internet. You're going to break the internet, Devin. Come on, dude. Jesus, Christmas. Yeah. So basically, after testing and playing around, Archer sent me one to do some work with. It's pretty cool. A lot of people have a lot of questions. So let's learn first a little bit about the product, because you might not know already. Okay, you might be coming into this blind. So let's talk to Devin about what this, the D1x, correct? I said that correctly, right?
You got that one right, yeah.
Let's learn about what the D1x is. And then between that and some of the question answers over here, this will be a pretty good show. So Devin, tell us, what is the D1x? What does this product do for people?
Well, so first off, the name, so D1X, the whole idea was the D stands for digital, and 1X is one by, so it's the digital one by. We came up with that name as a way of, really showing that we can take these one by drivetrains, which are amazing and so simple and nice to use, and really digify them, make them wireless, make them electronic as a retrofit. So the D1X is basically, there's two parts to the D1X. There's a shifter, and then there's a remote. I've got a remote here. I don't know where my shifters are. They're scattered around the office. Here's one. So we've got our shifter and we've got our remote, and the shifter is a little box that connects to your derailleur. You attach it underneath the chainstay or really anywhere that you want to put it. There's a small length of shifter cable that connects to the derailleur, and then there's a handlebar mounted remote. So the shifter controls the derailleur and the remote controls the shifter. And this is a programmable shifter. And the whole goal here was to make something that was totally open and programmable to work with any drivetrain. So you can tell this thing however many gears you've got. You can set up each one of your shift points individually. And then once it's all set and dialed in, you've got a wireless shifting system on whatever you're riding right now. And the beauty of it is that it really does take away a lot of the I don't know how to say this, the magic of the shifter pod, the Swiss watch type movement of the shifter pod.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that, the brains of the shifter pod get loaded into the shifter that's on your chainstay, and you no longer have that mechanical system. You have this cool electronic system that's moving fast and precise and quick. Just another quick thought about what this product does. The fact that it allows you to work with anything allows you to mix and match components. So you are no longer tied to the upgrade cycle of as SRAM comes out with their next drivetrain or their next cassette or their next whatever. This guy can be reprogrammed into working with anything.
Nice. Hey, folks, real quick, before we go any further, if you're noticing Devin say something or hear it and then see his lips move later on, it's not like one of those karate movies where fight me.
It's dubbed.
Yeah, right. He's doing this off of his cell phone right now. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you don't even know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this live on YouTube or watching the YouTube, maybe have a drink or something, and everything will sync up real soon. So just see exactly. See, I heard the laugh, and now his lips are moving. So it's kind of cool. It brings a whole cool. Right? We're having fun here. I'm hanging out with my buddy Devin. This is what this is about. Regular guy bike chat. It's so cool. So anyway, let me ask you this, Devin. Leaving Archer components out of the mix and your product, electric shifting, is that a category now? Is that something that's coming? I mean, obviously you guys are.
It's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the topic in general, right?
I think it's funny when I first heard about this. So I was pretty far out of the kind of the leading edge of the bike industry because I was living abroad for 6 years before I started the Archer company, and so I was totally out of being clued into things. And when I came back to California and people were talking about electronic shifting, I'm like, that is not a thing. Like, you got to be kidding me, right? But once you ride it, once you try it and you realize how much smoother it is, how much easier it is on your hands, how much, I hate to say it, but cooler it is, all of a sudden you realize, like, wait a second, all of that, look, I used to drive this killer old 86 Land Cruiser, and the thing was just such a beast, man. The thing, like, mechanical to the core, carbureted, that had a brake booster, and I think that was like the only bit of technology that was part of it, right? And that was all just hydraulics. It was a great thing to drive. It broke down occasionally, but it was pretty reliable. Mm-hmm. But to shift it, you drive for 6 hours in the Andes using that thing, and you get out of the car and your shoulders are tired, your arms tired. Right. I mean, the same thing. You come back and now I'm driving a hybrid with a CVT transmission, mm-hmm. and it's like smooth as shit. You realize that there's this big jump that happens when you take a purely mechanical system and you make it an electromechanical system. I think electronic shifting is here to stay. Gotcha. I really do. I think, there's a lot of resistance to it. I think there's a lot of people that are like, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Why would we do this? Why would we mm-hmm. change? And I think it's only a matter of time before people try it and they go, oh, right. Yeah, this is a good thing.
I mean, we could get into that topic and go on and on. I mean, I don't own an e-bike, but I'm not against e-bikes. Okay, if I had the extra money, I'd have one. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're evil or they're from the devil. You know what they do? They put a smile on my face, and I enjoy it, and I go outside. But this is not an e-bike video. Where I'm going with this is mountain bike technology in general has changed. All right, I'm 46 years old. The bike I rode when I was 8 did not look. That's why. That's back then when I was a kid, it was cool to get a 10-speed. If you could get a 10-speed, you were the man. Okay, mountain bikes didn't even exist when I think about it. 46 years old. All right, so
I remember my first 21 speed. Like, what? Right. There's 3 in the front, 7 in the back. This
Holy
is incredible.
Cow! Okay, and if you think about it, folks, the shifters with these levers on the tubes. All right. And the brakes had these weird things in front. So so if you just, what I'm trying to say is whether you like this technology or not, you have to like technology in general. If you like the mountain bike that you're on right now, that's full suspension with hydraulic brakes, all I'm saying is none of that stuff existed 46 years ago. Okay? So all that had to progress. So that's all I'm saying is I think you just need to keep an open mind to technology in general and then pick the pieces of it that you like. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, just to jump on that, like the bikes that were around 5 years ago are vastly different. I mean, I was at the premiere of Gamble last night here in Santa Cruz, and there was like one little bit of a clip where, God, I can't remember the rider, but he jumped on this old Santa Cruz V10 from like 5 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. And the crowd's like, whoa, remember that? Like that throwback bike.
Yeah.
That really was a pretty special bike back then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to ride the Cannondale head shock with that little bitty thing.
Yeah.
That was suspension.
Yeah. Well, now what they like on they're doing all that telemetry on the Fox shocks, and they're just, I mean, it's crazy what they're doing nowadays.
Yeah. So, I don't want to beat the dead horse. I don't want to get anybody ticked off and say, whatever, fanboy. I'm just saying, folks, I like technology. I love the bikes I have. I just got a new Santa Cruz Nomad, right? The
Nice.
Nomad 4. The bike's insane. That bike is screaming technology. Just forget about it. It's screaming technology. But what else is cool about this is checking them out and playing. So I got the pleasure to test out and use the shifter. Okay, it's pretty cool. I've been doing some work with Archer. I'll probably continue to do more work with Archer and continue to see how the product evolves and where it is now and how things just as everything over time, more features come out, things are going good. And it's an interesting. Look, I sell embedded BI software for a living. I'm a nerd. Okay, that's what I do. So how could I not think this is a cool topic? But if you don't mind, Devin, if it's cool, I'm going to go through some of these questions that I've had and other subscribers have had to just kind of go through this. All right, so cool. So look, one of the things that comes up is, great, now I've got to charge one more thing. And there's no specific order. I just don't want to forget anything, so I'm just going in order. So how long does something like this work? The batteries, like how long can I shift this thing for? Okay,
so when you're using like the full feature mode, you get 30 hours of ride time, which if you're a regular guy getting out 2, maybe 3 times a week, it really translates to about 2 months of charge. So you're not charging your bike every time. It's not like you have to go home and you got to plug your bike in or anything like that. This is, a solid 2 months of riding. We do have a low power mode. It shuts down the auto shutdown timer. So you have to remember to turn your shifter off when you get home, but that extends the battery to about 50 hours of runtime.
Cool.
So charging is, I understand that it's like definitely one of those things that's, it's a nuisance and it's something new, but it's definitely not an issue when you only have to do it once every other month.
Right.
We actually just got, where's my bag? We just got these in. These are rad. These little, can you see that? These little not hard, but like they're,
little cases.
Little cases and with a little foam insert, so you got your extra battery pack in there. So we're gonna be sending these out as well. So this is like your extra battery. You throw that in your pack, and if you need to change batteries, this is just there for you.
Cool. In fact, you know what? Since we're on that topic, rather than me do too much. What kind of batteries are those? So is that something like it's proprietary and I'm stuck? I have to go and buy a special GoPro battery, or what do I?
No. So I mean, our whole thing from the get-go really is flexibility and openness. So we didn't want to lock you into a specific, battery type. We definitely started out with. This is cool to be doing this in the office because I've got all these like props that I can show. We started out with these prismatic. This is like the super old prototype from way back, but we started out with these prismatic batteries that were like proprietary. You had to have, the specific type of battery and all that. We realized that we just didn't want to be in the battery market. We don't want to be making batteries. We don't want to be forcing you to sell the batteries. One of the big hang-ups that I've had in doing this project and making this product is that I love my bike so much and I love riding so much that if something gets in the way of that, it hurts me to the core, right? And if I am getting in the way of somebody else's time on their bike, that is just like, that's a disaster in my mind, right? So I don't want to be the guy that's standing in the way of you going for a bike ride because you can't get a battery sourced from me. Right. So these guys are lithium ion, AA size and AAA size batteries. And you can buy these on Amazon, and, we sell them with our brand, our label on them. We found a really trusted vendor that has, good technology and good response on these things. And so we like our vendor. We like the batteries that we sell. We can point you to a link on Amazon. You can buy them there too if you need to.
Well, that's
get
cool.
them in a pinch, for sure.
That's cool. All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, that's good to know. It's always tough to not have to have another set of batteries for something. So that's awesome. Well,
special charger.
Geez, yeah, right. So this is one that came up from Instagram. The position it's installed, there was a question around chain slap and maybe affecting the straps or how the shifter is attached to the chainstay. So what's your thoughts around chain slap on your product?
So, Brandon, my partner, he rides down in San Luis Obispo, which is like just a crazy rocky environment. So when we were getting started and trying to figure out where are we supposed to put this thing, we really looked at the frame of his bike that he'd been riding for a little while. And we were like, okay, where are the rock chips out of the frame paint? Where is this thing taking abuse from rocks? And we really found that underneath the chainstay was pretty virgin territory, especially close to that axle. We did further studies and we found that sticking it underneath the chainstay actually was a fairly protected place because it's inboard of the derailleur, so you're closer to the wheel. I think your derailleur is going to probably take more of a beating than our shifter.
Gotcha.
The plastic is very robust. This is glass-filled nylon, sonically welded together. This stuff is pretty damn robust. I haven't driven over it with a car yet, but I would imagine that you could probably beat on this thing pretty good and not get any issues.
Gotcha.
The straps that we use to retain it are, again, a molded plastic polypropylene. They're very robust. So we haven't seen any issues with the device itself taking an impact and getting damaged in any way, shape, or form.
Gotcha.
So I think the placement is ideal. It keeps the the cable length very short, so we can minimize any cable stretch. The straps, we include straps. We include these mounting straps with it. We also designed this so that slot right in there where we put the mounting straps, that's the exact same width as a standard zip tie. So I don't want to get in the way of you and your bike, right? So if our straps are cut or break or fall apart or whatever, or you need to take it off and put it on a different bike, you can get more straps from us, but you could also just go to your Ace Hardware, grab some zip ties and zip tie this thing on there if you want.
Nice. Well, you brought up another topic that we should probably talk about. Suppose you don't want to put it underneath the chainstay. Is that required? Do you have to put it there, or are you kind of flexible around it where it can go?
It's totally flexible. You can put it anywhere you want. My wife wants it up on her handlebars, which totally defeats the purpose. But she's like, because her rationale is, I never remember to turn it on until I'm already riding my bike.
Oh, got it.
And I'm like, okay, so you want it's so silly, but all right. You can put it anywhere you want.
All right, that's cool. Now, this one was a question that I had that until I spent more time with the device, realized that it wasn't an issue. And then it came up again on a couple of the other. This one might have been on the YouTube video that I posted. But look, let me get to the question. Does moving the device, or if let's say one of those straps comes loose, Does that alter the way it shifts? How does that work?
Not at all. Not at all. So all the pressure is maintained on the Bowden housing and the ferrules. So once these bed in and get all snug in there, it doesn't matter if the shifter itself moves on the chainstay. All the pressure and the precision is held in this Bowden housing.
Okay.
So we're using Jaguar Lex SL housing, which is the slick professional grade housing. We're using the aluminum ferrules, so these aren't little plastic ferrules. These are the double seal Jaguar aluminum ferrules, so they're really robust and strong. We want to maintain that precision through the life of the shifter, so we want to make sure that this thing can handle the load.
So once that's set appropriately with the correct tension between the shifter and, obviously pulling it through the derailleur and tightening that little lock screw over there for the derailleur cable, you're done. You can wiggle it around all you wanted to. It wouldn't change, the shifting, basically. Got it. Cool.
Right, exactly.
All right. This one came up, which I thought was kind of, never really thought of this, but that remote, this came up. How secure, what I'm talking about is like, credit card hackers. How secure is it for someone to break into that shifter and while you're riding in a race, someone go, ha, 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 click, 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 and all of a sudden you can't pedal your bike because they locked your shifter out. What's the protocol? How does it keep people from hacking your bike? There's a lot of bike hackers out there, Devin.
There's a lot of bike hackers. And
they're hiding in the woods by trees.
It was one of the reasons why we didn't do we had looked at using RF, but then we found that with RF you can do fairly simple RF signal jamming. And we're like, well, we should probably not do that then. Yeah. But no, so we're using an encrypted Bluetooth low energy protocol, which is a pretty tried and true technology, right?
Gotcha.
The pairing between these two things is unique. We're using a UUID to pair the two to make sure that they know exactly who they're talking to. So it's not impossible that there could be crosstalk, but the probability of crosstalk is in the 1 in multiple trillions. So I think we're in decent shape there.
Gotcha. Unless you guys just get crazy popular and you're driving around in like expensive cars and living in mansions because you sold so many of these things,
That's probably not going to happen, Gene. No, so it's encrypted, it's locked in there. We really treat the connection between the shifter and the remote as the most sacred bond between these two products. So these guys are very, very, very hard to break into. So much so that if you did need to talk to the shifter with your phone, you actually have to shut the whole system down. You have to turn the whole thing off before you can turn the shifter on and pair it back with your phone. We don't want to break into this thing in any way, shape, or form.
Smart. I mean, that's huge. I mean, these are just important things that you have to think about, and it's just nice to see that you did. You didn't cut any corners on that. That's important. Let me ask you this one over here. All right. There are other products like this on the market, as well as like Shimano that has their own electric shifting Grupo. So with that in mind, where does Archer's D1x fit with the competition of things that are similar to this? And then just I want to we'll go with a whole Shimano Grupo type of thing.
Yeah. So I think we really went with a trail tested design from the very get-go. One of our company core values is that this thing is not tested until it has been tested on the trail. And that is I think one of the most important things when you're building something for mountain bikes is that it really has to get out there and just hammer on it. We did just in terms of the ergonomics of the remote, we spent countless revisions going through and trying to make sure that we knew exactly the right angle of elevation and angle of rotation that we needed to put this mounting boss so that it would work with that matchmaker system and that it'd be in the ideal spot for your fingers, right? So I think one big thing that we've got going for us is just the trail testing and the ergonomic testing that we put into this. We really wanted to make sure that this was usable when you're jamming down the trail, when you're flying, because I mean, I like to think that I can ride fast. I can't ride fast, man. I've ridden with some people that just like blow me out of the water, and they can hammer on this thing and they can shift like crazy with this thing, and it works real well.
Nice. So there's a lot of testing going on behind the scenes.
A lot of testing. Yeah, it's been good. And then in terms of the full group sets, those guys, I love what they're doing. They're pushing it. They're validating the market, and they're making this thing more. They're opening the market for guys like us, but they're going to lock you into a single drivetrain, right? The Di2 system is awesome. It's really, really cool, but it's wired. And so you're running cables throughout your whole bike, which kind of defeats some of the purpose, I think, of a wireless system.
So that's a good topic right there. I mean, so let's expand on that just because I've been asked this. So what you're saying is if someone bought this and they like the SRAM 1x12, because right now that's the 1x12 gearing system on the market. But next month, Shimano comes out with a 1x12 that you, for some reason, think is better, and you want to switch, and you just want to try something. Maybe you just got a killer deal on it. You want to give it a try.
Right.
Is that an issue? You guys could just work with whatever. It doesn't make a difference.
Not at all. Yeah, it's no issue at all. The cool thing about this is that it's totally flexible. Like I mentioned, I've got it on my wife's bike. It's a 71 Motobacan Grand Touring. And it's like her little city bike, and she loves it because we can make that thing shift like a dream. Awesome. It's totally flexible, and you're not locked into a single product line. You're not locked into a single model. If you think about the Di2, if one element of that breaks, you have to replace it with that same element, right? If your derailleur breaks, you have to get the Di2 XT derailleur and tie it back in. The flexibility that we're allowing you to do is that if something does break, if you want to change your cassette out, if you want to do something different with your bike, reprogramming this takes about 5 minutes.
Cool. This was a funny one, though. Those are good points. Next one that come up is kind of a funny one. I remember when I posted my YouTube video and I read one of the comments and someone said, "What is the reason for this?" Like, why would you do this?
Why did you do this?
Why did you do this to me? I have a shifter. It shifts. So what?
Well, I had a 3D
why?
printer and some servos. So.
Exactly. We were sitting here drinking beers, and someone said, So that did come up. Someone said, "Why did you even go about making something like this?"
Yeah. Well, just think about the fact that we can individually set shift points. So all of a sudden, you take that barrel adjuster that would effectively just moves all of your shift points all together. We're now able to say, look, you can individually dial in each one of your shift points.
Right.
So you've got the configurability of this, you've got the flexibility of it, you've got the speed and the precision of it. We went through a lot of testing of different speeds of moving the motor, and we really found the right combination of accuracy and speed so that it shifts into gear not as fast as it can go, but as smooth as it can go.
Nice.
And it really gets into gear very smoothly each time. So I think, we've got smooth, speed. The fact that if you do have any kind of range of motion issues in your wrist, or maybe you had a scaphoid break, or heck, you just get tired after a couple of hours of pushing on that mechanical shifter, these buttons are really easy to push. They're really easy to push, and you can just click, 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 click all day long. So I feel like it's an accessibility device as well, and it allows more people to get on bikes. We've got a number of customers that have physical disabilities that have mounted this so that they can hit it with their chin on their hand cycle, right? I mean, it's awesome. It's really cool.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I know. Well, did I?
Well, folks, here's the deal. Trust me, I'm going to ask a couple of questions on things that I think should be improved. So don't think I'm Mr. Kiss Devin's butt over here, but I am going to tell you that I accepted the button shifting a lot faster than I thought I would, okay? So again, I'm telling you, I'm 46 years old. I've been shifting with traditional shifters of some make and model for quite some time, and I was quite surprised how quickly I liked to just use the buttons. And look, I've got a list. There's a couple things over here I'm going to talk to Devin about. I said, Devin, we got to play with a couple things over here. All right? So, but I want to tell you some of the things that were good. And let me tell you, I didn't think I'd like, or not, I didn't think I would adapt to the buttons as fast as I did. And the main reason is just a little tap. And something that I noticed, because I did try this in the wintertime, because this year, New Jersey's winter just never, ever, ever wanted to go away. It was hell. But I was out there in the snow, and I've got my big old freaking winter gloves on. and it was a lot easier to shift with the gloves because all I had to do was tap the button other than trying to get my mittens to try to get into there. So there's a lot to say about the buttons, but it's up to you still. I mean, everyone, look, there's still Shimano's, like the crank shifter, right? That people like to do, you have to pick what works for you, but that is a good point. It's a lot less fatigue on your fingers. Well, okay, here's one that I have to say, and, we kind of talked about this, so I'm not hitting anybody blind over here. Changing the batteries are a bit of a pain, and let's just say a bit of a pain in the ass. So like you said, you've got the little extra batteries. So exactly. So let's just get right into that one right now and hit it up because it is what it is.
So, yeah, no, it is. It is. The screw that holds the battery door, I hate that screw. We're actually working on modifications right now to try and figure out a way that we can either add a thumb screw or some kind of knurled cap to that. Mm-hmm. And we're actually, I have a lot of props. This is good. I enjoy this. I have a lot of props. So
it's great for the people on the podcast. The podcast people are loving this right?
Like,
hey, thanks, Gene. Show another prop, Devin. Thanks.
No, so I just pulled these off of our 3D printer, but these are knurled thumb screws right there. So this is a first rev of this, but we're going to see if we get these guys machined up so that you can then just take that off, and it's a lot bigger. It's a lot harder to lose. The little screws that come on the back of the battery door are probably my least favorite part of the product.
Yeah, it's tough to get the battery back out again and put one thing. At least I will, like I'm not here to be Mr. Piss on anybody's campfire. I liked what you did. If you take a look inside of that, what they did there is you aren't putting the screw into plastic. There is a nut on that. So when you do put the screw in, it is screwing into a nut because you got to figure that not that you're going to be taking this on and off hundreds of times, but you are opening and closing the battery doors several times over the time span that you're going to have this. So it's not going. If it was going into plastic, it just would never last. But you are using.
It goes about 5 times in plastic.
One extra tweak with the wrench, and you screw it up. So that was good. But that's what it is. But at least I'm happy to see that you guys are saying, we got to work on this, and you already got something going. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the beauty of 2018 building products, man. You can do rapid prototyping. I mean, the fact that our printer, we've got a Form 2 printer, which is a resin printer. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can't see this on the video, but we've got threads. It printed threads
so cool.
on an M2 screw, which are, I mean, these are less than a 0.5 millimeter spacing on these things. This is crazy. So yeah, we're stoked to be able to iterate quickly, to make refinements, and then push those out as the product evolves.
That's cool. Well, this one comes up often. All right. What does this do about weight? How much extra weight does this add to someone's bike for those weight weenies now? Which a lot of people are, they're concerned with that. What does this do to your bike?
It's a couple grams heavier, so about 20 to 40 grams heavier than a normal shifter pod, the housing and all the cabling that goes front to back. So it's a bit of a weight, a bit of a weight increase, but I believe that the performance enhancement definitely outweighs that 20 or 40 grams. When you think about 20 grams, I mean, that's really not that much weight.
It's not on the wheels either. It's not rotational weight either, so that's also important. All right. Does this help with shifting under load?
Yeah, totally. The thing works actually. I feel like it's better under load. It's easy to shift going uphill with this thing. You definitely don't need to back off or anything. It just snaps right into gear.
Gotcha. That's cool. This one I have to ask because people are going to want to know about it. It's electronic, and your bike gets wet, muddy. It gets covered in snow.
Totally.
So talk about how you keep this thing safe in the elements when it comes to dust or snow, or just take all the seasons and pile them all up against you. How does it work with that?
Well, we built this in California. It's dry here. We're fine. Yeah, I got my winter flip-flops on. No, no. So we've got waterproof, dustproof. So we're going for an IP66 waterproofing, which means that you can spray it with a jet of water in any direction, and you won't have any ingress. It's not submergible ready, so don't do any lake jumps this summer with your shifter bike. But I mean, the obvious reason for that is that there's some holes, right? There's the shifter hole, and then we also have a little door on the top that allows you to change the shifter cable, and so that's covered with a silicone grommet and a silicone cover, but that's a giant water ingress point. So submersion is definitely a no-go on this thing, but normal riding, going through streams, hosing your bike afterwards, getting it muddy, getting it dirty is no problem at all.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, look, we're getting just about down to the end of the list over here. Some of the other ones I had over here were just things that I wanted to write down as I was taking notes that just wanted to talk to you about on things that I thought might be cool here or there. But something I want to bring up, folks, is this. So I've been working with Archer for a little while now, and using different ones of these. And as issues have come up, okay, because just like anything, I've got a C post over here from 9.8 that I'm going to be reviewing and testing out from Steven. Awesome. 9.8 was really cool. They did one of these shows. These things come up, and every time that, I had a question or maybe I had to test something differently, Devin's kind of come to the table. So I just want to say that, there's something to say about working with a smaller organization like Archer right now, because obviously you're growing. I mean, we're looking at the guy right there in his little shop, right? I mean, he's working off of the cell phone, They've always come to the plate and help. So maybe can you tell me what it's like to start up a company and how you're working with your customers and you know what? And let's be honest, things go wrong. Okay, with the best things in the world. How are you handling stuff like that? And because this look, the reason why I'm going, this is a big investment. I'm not saying I'm going to go pick up a set of tire levers that were $15. You're shelling some coin out.
$400 product, yeah.
Right. So let's just talk about that and maybe kind of take it from there on how do you help these folks out? Where are you at with that?
Well, I mentioned that I was living abroad for a while. I was living in Ecuador, and the cost of living is a lot lower, and so the salary that I was making was a lot lower. So for six years, I was living kind of in a different socioeconomic mindset than what we typically find in the U.S. And so coming back and starting this product or starting this company and selling this product, I do not take it lightly when people give me $400 for this product. I mean, that is, to me, like that's huge. That's absolutely huge. The amount of trust and the amount of faith that someone's putting into something that I've built. It's massive, and it gives me goosebumps just to talk about it. So when someone comes in and buys one of these shifters and I ship it out there, I was handwriting little notes on the first 100 of these things that went out the door, just like, awesome. Thank you, Bob. Like, this is amazing. Thank you for your support. And look, yeah, you're absolutely right. Things do come up. Things do mess up. So the little button on the shifter, we designed that had too much of a bump, and one of our first customers, Antonio Thomas, out in Chico, California, he bought one, and he immediately rubbed up against. In his email, he said, "I got a little close to the foliage," and he ripped the button out, and it was awesome though, because I was able to say, all right, well, let's talk about how that happened. Let's figure out what went wrong. What direction was it pulled from? Blah, blah, blah. And then with Antonio, I was able to do multiple iterations of more product testing. And so I got him some, awesome. I was like, look, dude, can I just send you a prototype of a new button profile and see if you can do the same thing? Can you rip this thing out? And it was through testing that we were able to get a better profile, and we're able to get a better design that's not going to pull out and hose anybody's day, right?
Gotcha.
So we treat our customers as best as we can treat them. I mean, like, so our second core value, right, is treat the customer like you want to be treated. I want to know that when you buy this product that you feel like you're getting a good deal for what you're putting down. So yeah, it's super important to me. I mean, it's that's everything, awesome. I think.
Well, that's great, because this is something that people do to get away from what stresses them out. Mountain biking, gets them away from what stresses them out during the day.
Right,
so this is I want to get out of my regular world and go to this happy place,
Yes.
So it's just nice to know that you have the same values around that as well, And, I guess bottom line, folks, is what I'm trying to go is stuff's going to happen, okay? You've probably maybe brought your own bike back to the shop you bought it from because something might have needed to be tweaked. But you still go to that same shop, and you go there because you trust the guy, and, it always gets fixed. So that's what I'm feeling over here with Devin, and I'll be continuing to work with their products. You'll find it back on my, you'll find it on my Remedy. Okay. So if you ever want to check it out on one of the meetup rides, I'll have it there with me so you can take a look at it and see how it works. It's pretty cool. And like anything, as things progress, you'll have points. Obviously, you can see Devin's pretty open to learn what you know, right? Let's make the thing, even better than it already is.
Totally.
And that's pretty sweet. And I guess I got to say, I'm not going to sit here and knock the big guys because we need the Shimanos and the Strams. I mean,
totally.
Without them, he'd have nothing to shift. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you're not going to get, Mr. Schramm on the phone and saying, hey, can we tweak this thing? So there's something to say about working with Archer, which I think is important. And I'm really glad that we got to bump into each other. Plus, we've had some great conversations. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has.
So, folks, do me a favor. Give me your comments below. Look, we're moving into a new thing. I realize some of the comments, they all need to be polite, right? That's what we do here at Regular Guy Mountain Biking. We talk to each other. There's no reason to kind of flip off on anyone because nobody gains by that. But, let's not beat around the bush. What do you think about electronic shifting? Or what's keeping you from going to electronic shifting? So what I'm saying is, Gene, I'd actually like to do it. I think it's a good idea, but the scares me. Or what totally. Do you, because you're talking to the guy over here that's like, damn, I didn't even think of that. If I throw that into the product, that would be awesome. Right. How is he supposed to know these things unless people talk? So give me some comments down below. Devin will take a look at this YouTube channel if you have, or I can always email him. The podcast, folks, just shoot me an email, right? My email's right on the podcast. I'm not hiding. And we could just learn more and more about this whole topic in general. It's been pretty cool, right?
For sure. Gene, and just to say, thank you for, reaching out when we were just getting this thing out there. Gene said, dude, this thing's cool. I want to check it out. Like, I'm super appreciative of the fact that you were such an early adopter and just totally into this idea and gave us a chance, right? Because without the exposure, no one knows what this is.
Right. Well, and the main reason why I do it, Devin, is because this is the only way my subscribers can learn about these type of things. Like, there's over 5,000 of us now, I'm just insane how lucky I am to have this many people.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. We got some great subscribers here, Devin. The people are just freaking awesome. But I can test it and tell 5,000 people what's going on, right? Opposed to 5,000 people, which would, that would be good at $400 a shot. But I can help more people this way, you know what I'm saying? If we do that, I want an affiliate link real soon. Just so you know, folks, right. I have nothing other than gaining a really good friendship and playing around with some cool toys. There's nothing, you can't buy it on Amazon. It's just so there's no financial gain by this. I'm into tech. I like seeing things progress. These guys are doing a good job of it, and it's a lot of fun. So just going to throw that out there right now, folks. That's what this is all about, and I like learning more to help you guys make some decisions on what you want to do. Cool. Hey, dude, Devin, I'm so glad we got to do this. It's not always that easy for us to get together. I appreciate your time, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you, Gene. I really do appreciate it. And to everybody that listened through the whole podcast, man, hey, my first time was gentle. I appreciate it.
It's awesome. Hey, folks, if you want more of these, please subscribe to Regular Guy Mountain Biking. Click that little subscribe button and click that little bell over there so you know about all these. For my Patreon, folks, you get to watch these things live and ask questions, okay? So that's pretty cool. We had to do this one a little bit of an off time, so I didn't have anybody online this time around. But you guys get to go online, and you could be asking the guest questions right off the bat, so that's pretty cool. So these are going really well. But in the meantime, okay, we got to go. We've been going on for a while over here. Keep the party on the pedals, my friends. Devin, thank you again so much for your time today, right?
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, and I'll catch you folks later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.